I want to talk about emotions, your emotions to be exact. Have you ever had your emotions go from 0 to 100 in a split second? One moment you're fine, then suddenly, bang, you're raging. Your emotions are spiraling out of control. You're literally seeing red. And the worst part? You don't know how to stop it until it's too late. I'm Sia, and today I'm sharing 8 simple techniques to help you take back control. They work for me, and I'm sure they'll work for you. Because if you don't master your emotions, they'll master you. And it's a disaster waiting to happen. Way number 1, it's important to understand how emotions work. Our emotions often feel like they come out of nowhere, taking over before we even realize what's happening. But in reality, emotions aren't random. They follow patterns. And when we don't understand these patterns, we keep falling into the same emotional traps over and over again. Think about it. When you're stressed, what happens? Do you lash out or shut down? When you're anxious, do you overthink or go into avoidance mode? Everybody has their own emotional patterns. The thing to keep in mind is that emotions don't just appear out of thin air. They're triggered by something. And that something is different for every person, as is the response. But what is the same for everyone is that it creates a vicious cycle. A situation triggers a thought. That thought fuels an emotion. That emotion leads to an action. And that action reinforces the thought. For example, a coworker criticizes your work. Instantly, you see red. They don't respect me. Your frustration spikes into anger. That anger makes you snap back or fume about it for hours. And you remember all the times people didn't respect you. And this reinforces the belief that people don't appreciate you. And the next time someone criticizes you, that anger returns even faster. Because now that pattern is even more ingrained. You don't have to keep repeating this. Once you start recognizing these emotional patterns, you can break free of them. When you feel yourself getting caught in the cycle, pause and ask yourself, why am I reacting this way? Once you can answer that, you begin to understand your emotions. And that's the first step to controlling them. Way number 2, you need to identify your triggers. Not all emotional reactions make sense, at least not on the surface. One moment, everything is fine. And the next, something small sets you off. Maybe it's a comment that shouldn't bother you, but it does. Or perhaps someone cancels plans, and suddenly you feel hurt and rejected. It might even be some simple feedback that sends you spiraling into self-doubt. Why does this happen? Because emotions aren't just about what's happening now. They're about what you lived before. For example, a friend gives you constructive feedback. It's neutral, maybe even helpful. But instead of accepting it, frustration bubbles up. Maybe even a touch of anger. Not because of what they said today, but because of years of feeling criticized, dismissed, or not good enough. Triggers aren't about logic. They're about past experiences. And the stronger your emotional reaction, the deeper the trigger. Way number 3, let's look at the shift from reaction to response. Most of us don't decide how we react to things. We just react. Someone cuts us off in traffic, instant anger. You make a mistake and someone catches it, embarrassment or anger at getting caught. These emotions appear in a split second before we even realize what's happening. And that's the problem. When you react without thinking, your emotions are in control. When you respond with intention, you are in control. So how do you tame these emotions? It starts with creating space between what happens and what you do next. The next time something triggers you, pause, take a breath. Then ask yourself, does this deserve my energy? What's the best way to handle this? Because the difference between reacting and responding isn't just emotional. It's transformative. When you respond instead of react, you make better decisions. You stop letting reactive emotions create chaos in your life, and you take charge of your actions instead of letting emotions dictate them. Way number 4, our self-talk. What is it and how to change it? Our emotions aren't just shaped by what happens to us. They're shaped by the story we tell ourselves about what happens. We all have an inner voice. Sometimes it's helpful. Other times, it's our harshest critic. I know mine was. When things went wrong, I'd immediately think, why did I do that? I'm such an idiot. Till I realized something. The words I used didn't just describe my emotions, they created them. Consider this. 2 people fail at something. One tells themselves, I'm a failure. The other tells themselves, I'll figure it out. Same situation. Completely different emotional response. It's only a small change, but it changes everything. I'll figure this out means you are in control. You aren't pretending everything is fine. It isn't. But by changing how you speak to yourself, your mind and emotions will start working for you, not against you. Because the way you talk to yourself becomes the way you feel about yourself. And if you want to change how you feel, start by changing the conversation in your head. Way number 5, we need to identify the emotion we're feeling. Most people think emotions are this mysterious, overwhelming force, something that appears without warning. But here's the thing, you can't control what you don't understand. And in order to do that, you need to name what you feel. Because when you say, I feel terrible, what does that even mean? Are you frustrated? Are you disappointed? Are you feeling rejected? Each of these emotions is different, and each one needs a different response. An example, imagine you just got feedback on something important to you. If you tell yourself, I'm just upset, you stay stuck in the feeling. But if you pinpoint it more precisely, I feel embarrassed. Now you can work with it. Now you can do something about it. You can ask yourself, why am I embarrassed? What can I learn from this? Because once you can name what you're actually feeling, you gain understanding. And that gives you the power to choose what happens next. Way number 6, you need to release stored emotions. Not all emotions hit us in the moment. Some get buried. Some settle deep in your body. So deep you don't even realize they're there until they show up in ways you don't expect. Maybe you explode over something minor, or feel exhausted for no reason, or catch yourself reacting to a situation with way more intensity than it deserves. That's what happens when emotions don't get processed. They don't disappear. They store themselves in our bodies, waiting for a trigger. And if we don't release them, they'll keep resurfacing in ways that hold us back. So how do you let go? You need to move, exercise, stretch, shake off the tension. Your body is holding these emotions, so let it release them. Breathe deep, intentional breaths. Signal to your nervous system that it's safe to let go. Or write, put your emotions into words. When you name them, you stop carrying them in your body. Because emotions aren't meant to be stored. They're meant to be felt, processed, and released. And the longer they stay stuck, the more they shape your lives in ways you don't even realize. Way number 7, set emotional boundaries. Not every emotion you feel is yours. Ever walked into a room and immediately sensed the tension? Or left a conversation feeling drained and uneasy, even though nothing happened to you? That's emotional spillover. When you absorb the stress, the frustration, or the negativity of others without realizing it. It happens all the time. A friend vents and suddenly you're carrying their stress. A coworker's bad mood lingers with you long after they've left. And before you know it, you're reacting to emotions that were never yours to begin with. That's why emotional boundaries matter. Because just like you wouldn't let someone dump their clutter in your home, you don't have to let them dump their emotions into your mind. Once you recognize this, everything changes. You start noticing when a mood isn't yours. You stop carrying stress that doesn't belong to you. And instead of absorbing emotions you didn't choose, you make space for the ones that actually matter. Way number 8, let go of what you can't control. Most of our stress doesn't come from what's happening. It comes from trying to control things we can't control. We replay conversations, obsess over past outcomes, and exhaust ourselves fighting battles that were never ours to win. We think if I just try harder, if I just say the right thing, if I just fix this or that, then everything will fall into place. But no matter how much effort you put in, some things will always be outside your control. People's opinions, the past, unpredictable setbacks. The more you resist this, the more frustrated you'll become. But the moment you accept it, the moment you stop clinging to what should be and focus on what is, everything shifts. Because peace isn't found in controlling everything. It's found in knowing what to let go of. Remember, you can't push the mountain. So now you know the 8 techniques that completely shift the way you handle your emotions. And as you listened, maybe you recognized yourself in some of them. Maybe you've been reacting instead of responding, holding on to things you can't change, letting emotions dictate your decisions. But here's the thing that can change. Emotional mastery isn't about ignoring your feelings or shutting them down. It's about understanding them, managing them, and making sure they work for you, not against you. So ask yourself, which of these 8 techniques do you need to work on the most? Drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you feel and think. And if you're ready to take this to the next level, click the video in the top right-hand corner. It will show you exactly how to develop the habits that make you emotionally unstoppable. Because this isn't just about mastering your emotions. It's about mastering your life.